Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Dawn Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber with another great guest impacting our community in a positive way. Today I welcome Parentis Foundation Executive Director Janice Frechette-PARENTIS. The foundation is the affiliate host agency for the nationally acclaimed AARP Foundation's Experience Corps, which is an intergenerational volunteer-based literacy tutoring program. Thank you, Janice, for being on Impact OC.
Thank you, Dawn, for having me. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Sure is. Well, Janice, please share with us how the foundation seeks to address a major contributor to poverty, the inability of children to read proficiently by the end of third grade.
Yes, thank you. Our program focuses on a combination of a few things. We pair older adults, 50 and over, and the majority of our volunteer tutors are retired and have time, talent, and wisdom to share with struggling readers here in Orange County. And studies show that if a child is not reading proficiently by the time they reach fourth grade, they are 4 times more likely not to graduate high school.
So how are you able to pair them and get their readings levels up?
So we partnered with Boys and Girls Clubs in Orange County. We currently are in the Boys and Girls Club of Capistrano Valley, Boys and Girls Club of San Clemente, Tustin. We also have partnerships with a charter school in Santa Ana, the Edward B. Cole Academy, and also a Title I school, Del Obispo Elementary School in San Juan Capistrano. With these program partners, they have the ability to identify children who are really struggling to read, and they refer them to us. We do an assessment analysis of where they are in their reading skill set, and then we pair them with volunteers who are trained through our program, through the Experience Corps Orange County program, on how to do oral reading fluency tutoring with the students.
So are they able to do this during COVID?
Absolutely. We are so proud of the accomplishments that we made. March 17th, I think that's an important date for a lot of people of 2020. We were no longer able to go one-to-one with students on site at our program partners. And within 2 weeks, we pivoted our entire program to a Zoom platform. We brought on 50 of our 100 volunteer tutors. We helped show them how to use Zoom, which was a feat in itself. We provided practice opportunities for them. And by April 1st, we were online with the kids one-to-one in a Zoom setting. So none of our children had to have that gap time with reading support.
And what kind of materials are you using?
So we use a curriculum called Reading A to Z, and it's supported by school districts all over the country. And Reading A to Z materials are high-interest, fact-based pamphlet books that we delivered to the doorsteps of children and our volunteer tutors. We felt it was so important for us to have physical books for the kids to have and the tutors to have. So they all have their own curriculum that they follow, and then they get to keep the books when they've completed the books that they've successfully read.
So is the mentoring literally occurring over Zoom, and the mentor is hearing the student read?
Absolutely.
And how about assessments?
That's a great question, because our program is based on statistical data, so we can show where the children are at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year on their oral reading fluency skills. And we have a literacy consultant that works with Parentis Foundation. She is a retired school teacher from the Irvine School District, and she's been working with us since we launched in 2017. So we do what's called an oral reading fluency assessment. We determine where the children are, how many words per minute they read based on what the standard score is for a first, second, third grader, and then we know where to place them in their skill set. And what's really important, Dawn, is to know that we meet the kids where they're at, not where they're supposed to be, so they can find success in reading and build their confidence in their skill set while they're being tutored by their mentors. And what they do is we place them in September, but their volunteers stay with them twice a week for 30 minutes each session for the entire school year. So if a child's coming in fearful of reading, by the time they leave our program at the end of the school year, their tutor has built a relationship with them so they have confidence and are able then to improve their skill set in reading.
And explain the importance of getting their literacy up to par by third grade.
That's critical. If a child isn't reading really by grade level, fourth grade, they're no longer just reading to learn. They're learning to read from kindergarten to third grade. Now starting in fourth grade, they have to read to learn. And if they're still struggling, their behaviors really escalate. They'll show avoidance behaviors. They'll show a lack of affect for school, and they're really hard on themselves. So if they're not proficient readers, by the time they reach fourth grade, all aspects of their life start to diminish, and they really start to lose their desire to love school, and they'll find ways to avoid the tasks at hand. So we get to build up their confidence, and we get to track that in successful ways throughout our program.
Well, what is the success rate?
Right now, we are really proud to say that over 60% of the students that go through our program in a year are showing at least one half grade level improvement, and up to getting them on grade level. And that seems like kind of still a low statistic, but in so many ways, the children that we have in our program are almost 2 years below grade level. So to see progressive growth in their skill set and their desire to want to read becomes a measurable outcome for them academically.
Now, has COVID impacted that?
COVID has impacted that. The first few weeks that we were online with the kids, it was just really about building their confidence online, getting our tutors comfortable with technology, getting parents to be able to sign on with the kids, making sure that they had internet access, that they had headsets and computers and all the tools to be successful. And we are right now doing our end of year assessments, and we are seeing growth in almost every student we've worked with. And not just the growth towards their oral reading fluency and the words per minute, but really a behavioral growth of being able to adapt to situations that are out of our control. Their computer skills are amazing now. And so there's something positive that's come out of COVID, and for our tutors as well. But we saw that a lot of our kids flourished in a world where a lot of large group classroom situations didn't do so well because of that one-to-one connection that they have with the kids.
Tell us about the mentors.
They're amazing. They are the backbone of our program. We now have over 100 volunteers, all working virtually. And what's so amazing about this virtual world is some of our volunteers moved to different areas of the country to live with family or to go to another home while they were isolated during COVID. And now, because of virtual, it doesn't matter where they live. As long as they can tell time and do the time difference, they can be online with our kids. And so it's been a magical experience for them as well.
What are the demographics of the mentors?
Our average age mentor is 67, and so we have mentors anywhere from age 50 all the way up to, I believe, 86. And their backgrounds vary as well as their ages. We have retired school teachers. We have retired nurses, mechanical engineers, authors. We have a few very well-known authors that are part of our tutor pool. And the common denominator for all of our volunteers is they want to stay actively engaged in the community. They know that literacy is the gateway to success in everything that we do. And they want to be champions for these young children that wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to have this one-on-one engagement, and they become grandparent figures to them.
What are the demographics of the students?
Okay. So the majority of our students come from low to very low income demographics. I would say over 87% of our students are English as second language learners. And then we have kind of a diverse group of children in the communities where Their parents don't speak English at home. So their only opportunity to be able to read out loud, which is so critical for confident readers, is to be able to read out loud in English to their tutor. And this sometimes is the first and only opportunity they've ever had to do this. So that's really important. But for the most part, most of our children come and qualify for the free and reduced lunch, which is a benchmark for indicating at-risk students.
Are you in need of more mentors? If so, how can they become involved?
So absolutely. We have the opportunity with the more mentors that we have, the more sites I can go out to, more schools I can go out to and say, we have a pool of tutors. Give us your most at-risk youth and the children who are in need of reading support and intervention, and we will get started at your school. So our tutors can contact us at parentisfoundation.org, sign up to get more information, and all of our training right now and all of our information sessions are done virtually. So COVID has no bearing and has not stopped us. We've actually grown bigger since COVID started.
Funding.
Funding is a great one. Many of our funders are community foundation funders. They are family foundation funders where literacy is one of their main initiatives because, again, literacy is such an important factor for growth in children. And our funders also recognize that the intergenerational component is unlike any other that's out there in the community. And that engagement is such a critical part for the health and well-being of older adults to stay actively and mentally engaged, but also for children to have that adult figure as their mentor and coach.
Give us an example of a story about a mentor and student.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. We have a volunteer that has been with us for 4 years and has been working with this young girl since first grade. And she has had a couple different mentors, reading coaches is what we call them, through Experience Corps. When we first got her, she was so defeated at such a young age because she could not read. And her family life was always in flux. She couldn't go home and practice with her parents. She has been in our program now. She's now a 4th grader. She is now reading at grade level. And she is the first to log on to be with her reading coach before they even log on themselves, because she really, she not only enjoys the reading process, but she now feels like she's accountable to somebody that she wants to show that she can do it. And that growth that they have, both emotionally and academically, there's stories like that. We do over 100 tutor sessions a day. So I have those many stories by times 100.
What times of days does this occur?
We were an after-school program initially, and then COVID hit, and we could Zoom into a family's home at 10 in the morning if that worked around their school schedule. Mostly we start at 2:30 when they get out of school, and we go through 4:30. And our tutors commit about 5 to 6 hours a week in tutoring. They get one child every half hour, up to 3 children, and it's always one-to-one support. And now, because of COVID and the school shifting different schedules, we have tutoring that could be in the morning blocks as well.
Is there anything like this anywhere else?
We are an Orange County program for a larger national program through AARP Foundation, Experience Corps. So we operate Experience Corps here in Orange County, but Experience Corps actually is in 22 other cities throughout the country. But we were the very first one to pivot to virtual. So that's pretty exciting that we are sort of the pioneers of being on the virtual stage even before schools went back in person.
How do the mentors feel about all this?
You know, they would rather be face-to-face with the kids, but they absolutely know that the intervention is so critical and so important that they are proud of themselves for learning the technology that it takes. And so not only are they proud of themselves, they're proud of the connection they have with the kids online. And they're overlooking the fact that they can't be in person with the kids. They just know that the work they're doing is important. And we have Friday afternoon coffee chats or Friday morning coffee chats with the tutors. And they love to share their stories about the kids and the funny things that happen online with them.
The relationship with parents.
I just received an email about an hour before we came on air from a parent who I ran into this weekend. She had tears in her eyes because her son needs so much intervention, and he's overwhelmed when he gets it at school. It's a stigma to them. And although it's important that they get the extra intervention at school, the connection that they get with that unconditional support they get from their mentor, tutor, they thrive in it. And then the parents see them thrive. So they feel like there's finally something that's in place that doesn't cost them anything. So many of these parents would never have a one-to-one tutor for their child. That they are so grateful for us. And it brought tears to her eyes telling me the story of her little son looking forward to being tutored.
Is there any relationship with teachers?
So recently we started going into schools to do this. It's always been an after-school program. And again, it's interesting that you said that because a teacher emailed me yesterday and thanking us for our tenacity. Because a week ago we had a whole schedule planned out for 34 kids and 16 tutors. And then school went back on campus full-time this last week. So guess what? 34 schedules had to change. And that meant we had to reorganize all of our links, all of our tutor connections, pair the kids and make sure they could stay with their tutors if possible. And the teachers were just in awe that we were able to pull this off. And I want to give a shout out to my AmeriCorps Vistas, because without the help of my AmeriCorps Vista members, who are assigned to Parentis Foundation through a grant that we received through the AARP Foundation, that it single-handedly would not have been able to coordinate all of this, and their talents and time have just been so welcomed.
Why should children love reading?
Reading is the gateway to everything in life, and for them to feel successful, for them to feel confident in school and to be able to stand up and say, I could read that. I can read it with a silly voice. I can read it with a serious voice. I can feel confident among my peers, is going to help them through everything in life. And if a child doesn't read, they're destined to be in a world of poverty.
How do you want to be perceived?
We want to be perceived as a leader in the community in the nonprofit world. We love to collaborate with other nonprofits, and we also want everybody to know that this intergenerational connection is just a magical experience for everybody. It's a win for the kids, a win for the tutors, and a win for the community.
Thank you, Parentis Foundation Executive Director Janice Frechette-PARENTIS, for being on Impact OC, and I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.